Education and job websites by U.S. state. Chapter 1. Education and job websites by state, U.S. Alabama education and job websites. accs.cc/index.cfm/workforce-development/career-technical-education, Alabama Community College System, Career and Technical Education. alacte.org, Alabama Association for Career and Technical Education. alcareertech.org, Alabama Career and Technical Education. alesta.edu, Alabama State Department of Education. joblink.alabama.gov/ada/r, Alabama Job Link. labor.alabama.gov, Alabama Department of Labor. Alaska Education and Job Websites. acpe.alaska.gov/planning/education_planning/AKC is, Alaska Career Information System. education.alaska.gov/TLS/CTE, Alaska Department of Education and Early Development, Career and Technical Education. education.alaska.gov, Alaska School District CTE websites. labor.state.ak.us/AWB, Alaska Workforce Investment Board. alaskaworks.org, Alaska Works Partnership Incorporated. careertech.org/Alaska, National Association of State Directors of Career Technical Education Consortium, Alaska. Arizona Education and Job Websites. actaz.org, Association for Career and Technical Education of Arizona. ArizonaWorkforceConnection.com/resources/jobseekers.asp, Arizona Workforce Connection. az.gov/career-technical-education, Arizona Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. az.gov/adult services, Arizona Department of Education, Adult Education Services. doa.az.gov, Arizona Department of Administration. hired.az.gov, Arizona Commission for Post-Secondary Education. Arkansas Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/Arkansas, Arkansas Association for Career and Technical Education. ace.arkansas.gov/pages/default.aspx, Arkansas Department of Career Education. dws.arkansas.gov/index.htm, Arkansas Department of Workforce Services. arkansasworks.cuter.com, Arkansas Works. discoverarkansas.net, Discover Arkansas. California Education and Job Websites. californiajobnetwork.com/jobs.asp?.mark/GC-lit=coip-WP-NSSC54LGQODW2UFBA, California Job Network. cde.ca.gov/index.asp, California Department of Education. cde.ca.gov/ci/ct/rp/rockp07 summary.asp, California Department of Education, ROCP Program Summary. cde.ca.gov/sp/ae/is, California Department of Education, Adult Education Students. edd.ca.gov, State of California Employment Development Department. foundationccc.org, Foundation for California Community Colleges. Colorado Education and Job Websites. advancecolorado.com, Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade. cacte.org, Colorado ACTE. cde.state.co.us/cdeprof/cte_general info, CTE General Information. colorado.edu/business. coloradostateplan.com. cte.ed.gov/profiles/Colorado, PCRN, Colorado. hired.colorado.gov/publications/general/strategic planning/meetings/resources/strategic plan_final_nov0410.pdf, The Degree Dividend. Connecticut Education and Job Websites. ctdol.state.ct.us/lmi/datatools.asp, Connecticut Department of Labor, Labor Market Information. zzactionline.org/Connecticut, Connecticut Association for Career and Technical Education. careertech.org/Connecticut, National Association of State Directors of Career Technical Education Consortium, Connecticut. ctcourse_standards.org/page_ID=1336, Connecticut Course Standards, CTE. ctjobs.com, CTjobs. cttech.org, Connecticut Technical High School System. sde.ct.gov/sde/cwp/view.asp, A=2678 and Q=320802, Connecticut State Department of Education, CTE programs. Delaware Education and Job websites. dea.org/home.aspx, Delaware Healthcare Association. denurses.org, Delaware Nurses Association. deparalegals.org, Delaware Paralegal Association. dyoy.org, Delaware Youth Opportunities Initiative. ddoe.schoolwires.net/site/default.aspx page ID=1, State of Delaware Department of Education. Florida Education and Job websites. osceolaschools.net/cms/1.aspx, portal ID=567190 and page ID=116795, Career and Technical Education. School District of Osceola County. enterpriseflorida.com/industries, Enterprise Florida. facti.org, Florida Association for Career and Technical Education. floridajobs.org. floridareadytowork.com, Florida Ready to Work. frida.labormarketinfo.com, Florida Research and Economic Information Database. cna.org/cna_file/pdf/cim-2015-u-011929.pdf, The CTE Equation in Florida. Georgia Education and Job websites. gadoe.org/curriculum-instruction-and-assessment/ctae/pages/default.aspx, Career, Technical and Agricultural Education. gacte.org, Georgia Association for Career and Technical Education. ccrcenter.org/ccs-landscape/state-profile/Georgia, Georgia, College and Career Readiness and Success Center. explorer.dol.state.ga.us/miss/current/GA workforce-current.pdf, Georgia Workforce Trends. georgia.org/industries, Industries in Georgia. tcsg.edu, Technical College System of Georgia. Hawaii Education and Job websites. hawaii.edu/CTE, Career and Technical Education Center, Hawaii. labor.hawaii.gov, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. hiwi.org/vosnet/default.aspx, Hawaii Workforce Infonet. hawaiilodging.org, Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association. hah.org, Healthcare Association of Hawaii. labor.hawaii.gov/wdd, Workforce Development Division. Idaho Education and Job websites. boiseidaho.gov/workforce, Workforce, Economic Development. cte.idaho.gov, Idaho Professional Technical Education. labor.idaho.gov/dnn/default.aspx, alias labor.idaho.gov/dnn/idl, Idaho Department of Labor. pte.idaho.gov, Idaho Division of Professional Technical Education. Illinois Education and Job websites. fbla.gen.il.us, Future Business Leaders of America, Illinois Chapter. iccb.us, Illinois Community College Board. ilcte.org, Illinois State Board of Education, Curriculum Revitalization Career and Technical Education. ILDECA.org, Illinois Distributive Education Clubs of America, DECA. ILFCCLA.org, Illinois Association of Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCLA. IllinoisHOSA.org, Health Occupation Students of America, HOSA, Illinois Chapter. ISBE.net, Illinois State Board of Education. Indiana Education and Job Websites. in.gov/SBOE, Indiana State Board of Education. IndianaACTE.org, Indiana Association for Career and Technical Education. IndianaBPA.org, Business Professionals of America, Indiana Association. IndianaCCC.webnode.com, Indiana CTSO Coordinating Council, CCC. IndianaDECA.org, Indiana DECA. IndianaFBLAPBL.org, Indiana FBLAPBL. INFCCLA.org, Indiana Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCLA. SkillsUSAIndiana.org, SkillsUSA Indiana. Iowa Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/Iowa, Iowa Association for Career and Technical Education. educateiowa.gov/adult-career-college/career-and-technical-education, Iowa Department of Education, Career, and Technical Education. IACCT.com, Iowa Association of Community College Trustees. IADECA.org, Iowa Distributive Education Clubs of America, DECA. IAFCCLA.org, Iowa Association of Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCLA. IowaFFA.com, Iowa Future Farmers of America Association. IowaHOSA.com, Health Occupation Students of America, HOSA, Iowa Chapter. Kansas Education and Job Websites. dol.ks.gov/lmis/default.aspx, Kansas Department of Labor. ksde.org/agency/division of learning civic es/career standards and assessment services/csas home/career technical education left parenthesis cte right parenthesis.aspx, Kansas State Department of Education, Career Technical Education, CTE. kansasregents.org/workforce_development/excel_career_technical_initiative_bill_155, the Kansas Board of Regents, Qualifying Credential Incentive List. kansasregents.org/about/technical_education_authority, the Kansas Board of Regents, Technical Education Authority. kansasregents.org/transfer_articulation, the Kansas Board of Regents, Transfer and Articulation. kansascareerpipeline.org, Kansas Career Pipeline. kansascommerce.com/index.aspx?NID =649, Kansas Department of Commerce, Job Seeker Services. admin.ks.gov/services/state-employment-center, Kansas State Employment Center. Kentucky Education and Job Websites. cpe.ky.gov, Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education. education.ky.gov/cte/pages/default.aspx, Kentucky Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. focuscareer.ky.gov/career-explorer/home, Kentucky Career Center. GreaterLouisville.com, Greater Louisville Metro Chamber of Commerce. kctcs.edu, Kentucky Community and Technical College System. kielme.ky.gov/admin/gsipub/html/area/upload/outlook.pdf, Kentucky Occupational Outlook to 2022. kitech.ky.gov, Kentucky Office of Career and Technical Education. Louisiana Education and Job Websites. careertech.org/Louisiana, National Association of State Directors of Career Technical Education Consortium. ldha.org/index.html, Louisiana Dental Hygienists Association. lefoundation.org/site44.php, Lafayette Education Foundation. louisiana-connect.org/ext/louisiana/home/additional-information/post-secondary-resource-map.html, Louisiana Connect. lsna.org, Louisiana State Nurses Association. lsrt.net, Louisiana Society of Radiological Technologists. nolaba.org/New-Orleans-Business-Alliance.aspx, New Orleans Business Alliance. Maine Education and Job Websites. agcmaine.org, Associated General Contractors of America, Maine. maine.gov/do/cte, Maine Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. mainecareercenter.com, Maine Career Center. mainecte.org, Maine Career and Technical Education. mboia.org, Maine Building Officials and Inspectors Association Incorporated. mccs.me.edu/about-system-office/center-career-development, Maine Community College System, Center for Career Development. Maryland Education and Job Websites. natradeschools.edu, North American Trade Schools. fcps.org/academics/hs-career-and-technology-education.cfm, Frederick County Public Schools, Career and Technology Education. learnmd.org/pages/career-technology.aspx, LearnMD. marylandrn.org, Maryland Nurses Association. marylandpublicsschools.org/pages/default.aspx, Maryland State Department of Education. mwejobs.maryland.gov/vosnet/default.aspx, Maryland Workforce Exchange. careertech.org/Maryland, National Association of State Directors of Career Technical Education Consortium. Massachusetts Education and Job Websites. mass.edu/strategic/read_cdep.asp, Commonwealth Dual Enrollment Partnership. actionline.org/state profiles, Association for Career and Technical Education. seatsos.org, Career and Technical Student Organizations. doe.mass.edu/connect/cde, Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Career Development Education. doe.mass.edu/cte/resources, Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Resources. etrcc.com, Massachusetts Employment and Training Resources. mass.edu/strategic/read_cdep.asp, Massachusetts Department of Higher Education. mass.gov/lwd/employment-services, Massachusetts Labor and Workforce Development, Job Services. Michigan Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/Michigan, Michigan Association for Career and Technical Education. ctenavigator.org, Michigan Center for Career and Technical Education. michigan.gov/mde/0,4615,7-6530_2629-00.html, Michigan Department of Education. metalent.org, Pure Michigan Talent Connect. risa.net/curriculum/career technical education, Wayne County Regional Educational Service Agency. Minnesota Education and Job Websites. cte.mpls.k12.mn.us, Minneapolis Public Schools, Career and Technical Education Department. education.state.mn.us/mde/stusuc/careers/index.html, Minnesota Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. iseek.org/iseek/static/pathways.pdf, iseek, Minnesota Career Fields, Clusters and Pathways. iseek.org/myncareers/advance-career/get-training.html, mymncareers. mn.gov/deed, Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. nationalskillscoalition.org. Mississippi Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/state profiles, Association for Career and Technical Education, Mississippi State Profile. mccb.edu/careertech.edu/ctdefault.aspx, Mississippi Community College Board, Office of Career and Technical Education. mde.k12.ms.us/oct, Mississippi Department of Education, Office of Career and Technical Education and Workforce Development. mississippi.org/home-pages/r-advantages/workforce-main/training-network, Mississippi Development Authority, Training Network. mississippiacte.com, Mississippi Association for Career and Technical Education. nmeta.com/programs-resources/workforce-training, North Mississippi Industrial Development Association. Missouri Education and Job Websites. ded.mo.gov/get-certified, Missouri Work-Ready Communities. dis.mo.gov/college-career-readiness/career-education, Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Career Education. dhe.mo.gov, Missouri Department of Higher Education. jobs.mo.gov/jobseeker, Missouri Job Center. MissouriCareerEducation.org/info/MCCE, Missouri Center for Career Education, MCCE. MissouriEconomy.org, Missouri Economic Research and Information Center. mocs.intocareers.org/materials/portal/home.html, Missouri Connections. Montana Education and Job Websites. healthcaremontana.org/apprenticeships, Healthcare Montana, Apprenticeships. mtagc.org, Montana Contractors Association. dli.mt.gov/job openings, Montana Department of Labor, Job Listings. opi.mt.gov, Montana Office of Public Instruction, Division of Career, Technical, and Adult Education. wsd.dli.mt.gov/mjshome.asp, Montana Job System. Nebraska Education and Job Websites. dol.nebraska.gov, Nebraska Department of Labor. education.ne.gov/nce, Nebraska Department of Education, Career Education. nebraskacareerconnections.org, Nebraska Career Connections. necareertours.com, Nebraska Career Clusters, Career Tours. ned.org, Nebraska Department of Economic Development. Nevada Education and Job Websites. detar.state.nv.us/esd pages/jobseekerservice.htm, Employment Security Division, Nevada Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. magnet.ccsd.net, Clark County School District, Magnet Schools and Career Academies. nacteonline.org, Nevada Association for Career and Technical Education. nevadaworkforce.com, Nevada Workforce Informer. washosehools.net/sacte, Washoe County School District, Signature Academies and Career and Technical Education. New Hampshire Education and Job Websites. careertech.org/new-hampshire, Advanced CTE, New Hampshire. ccsnh.edu, Community College System of New Hampshire. education.nh.gov/career/career, New Hampshire Department of Education, Bureau of Career Development. jobsinnh.com, jobsinnh.com. nh.gov/labor, New Hampshire Department of Labor. nhcta.org, New Hampshire Career and Technical Education. nhes.nh.gov/lmy/index.htm, New Hampshire Employment Security, Economic and Labor Market Information Bureau. New Jersey education and job websites. CareerTechNewJersey.org/about, New Jersey Council of County Vocational Technical Schools. lwd.dol.state.nj.us, State of New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. NewJerseyCCC.org, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. New Jersey Green Program OFStudy.org, New Jersey Green Programs of Study, Sustainable Design, Construction, and Energy. State.nj.us/highereducation/index.shtml, State of New Jersey, Office of the Secretary of Higher Education. State.nj.us/education, State of New Jersey Department of Education. New Mexico education and job websites. CareerTech.org/new-Mexico, New Mexico, Advanced CTE. dws.state.nm.us, New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions. jobs.state.nm.us/vosnet/default.aspx, New Mexico Workforce Connection. newmexico.gov/citizen/higher_education.aspx, New Mexico, Higher Education. nmacte.com, New Mexico Association for Career and Technical Education. ped.state.nm.us/ped/ccr_index.html, New Mexico Public Education Department, College and Career Readiness Bureau. New York education and job websites. cte.nyc/site, New York City Career and Technical Education. labor.ny.gov/home, New York State Department of Labor. nyc.gov/jobs/index.page, NYC, Jobs. nysacte.org, New York State Association for Career and Technical Education. p12.nys.gov/cte, New York State Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. schools.nyc.gov/choices enrollment/special program/cte/default.htm, New York City Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. North Carolina education and job websites. ncacteonline.org, North Carolina Association for Career Technical Education. ncommerce.com/lead/research-publication/industry-reports, Industry Reports, Department of Commerce. ncglobaleconomy.com/index.shtml, North Carolina in the global economy. nclabor.com, North Carolina Department of Labor. ncworks.gov/vosnet/default.aspx, ncworks online. North Carolina JobNetwork.com, North Carolina Job Network. North Dakota education and job websites. commerce.nd.gov/upload/4/ed strategic plan 10_20.pdf, North Dakota Economic Development Strategic Plan. nd.gov/cte, North Dakota Department of Career and Technical Education. nd.gov/cte/crn/docs/careeroutlook.pdf, Career Outlook, State of North Dakota. ndworkforceintelligence.com. ndworkforceintelligence.com/vosnet/lmi/default.aspx, North Dakota Workforce Intelligence Network. Ohio education and job websites. education.ohio.gov/topics/career-tech, Career Tech, Ohio Department of Education. ohioacte.org, Ohio Association for Career and Technical Education. ohiohired.org/students/find-career/career-technical-professional-and-vocational-schools, Career Technical Education and Ohio Technical Centers. ohioelme.com/proj/projection/ohio_job_outlook. Oklahoma education and job websites. greatergrads.com, Greater Grads. newsok.com/marketplace/jobsok, JobsOK. ok.gov/oesc_web/documents/lmieco9pub.pdf, Oklahoma Economic Indicators, 2016. okcareertech.org, Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education. okcommerce.gov, Oklahoma Department of Commerce. Oregon Education and Job Websites. ode.state.or.us/search/results/?ID=151, Business Oregon, Growth Industries. Oregon.gov/BOLI/pages/index.aspx, State of Oregon, Bureau of Labor and Industries. OregonLive.com/jobs, Oregon Live, Job Search. WorkSourceOregon.org/job-seekers, WorkSource Oregon. Pennsylvania Education and Job Websites. AlleghenyConference.org/Pittsburgh Region/NCE/Key Sectors.php, Pittsburgh Regional Alliance, Key Sectors. CareerTechHPA.org, Pennsylvania Career and Technical Education. JobGateway.pa.gov. newpa.com/key-industries, Key Industries, PA Department of Community and Economic Development. PaCareerTech.org, Pennsylvania Association of Career and Technical Administrators. Rhode Island Education and Job Websites. dlt.ri.gov/lmi/proj.htm, Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training. jarhodeisland.org/high-school-programs.html, Junior Achievement of Rhode Island. ride.ri.gov/students-families/education program/career technical education.aspx, Rhode Island Department of Education. rihospitality.org/rihas/home, Rhode Island Hospitality Association. arisna.org, American Nurses Association, Rhode Island. skillsusari.org, Skillsusa Rhode Island. South Carolina Education and Job Websites. careertech.org/South-Carolina, Advanced CTE, South Carolina. jobs.scworks.org/vosnet/default.aspx, SCWorks, Online Services. scacte.org, South Carolina Association of Career and Technical Education. scnurses.org, South Carolina Nurses Association. sctechsystem.com/index.html, South Carolina Technical College System. sctechsystem.com/index.html, South Carolina Technical College System. SELA.org, Southeastern Association of Legal Assistants. South Dakota Education and Job Websites. careertech.org/South-Dakota, National Association of State Directors of Career Technical Education Consortium, South Dakota. doe.sd.gov/octi/cte.aspx, South Dakota Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. sdta.sd.gov, South Dakota Department of Agriculture. sdnurses.org, South Dakota Nurses Association. Tennessee Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/Tennessee, Tennessee Association for Career and Technical Development. sccareercenter.org/www/docs/1/job-seekers, Tennessee Career Center. tbr.edu/institutions/r-institutions?ID=2650, Tennessee Board of Regents. tn.gov, Tennessee Department of Human Resources. tn.gov/education/section/career-and-technical-education, Tennessee Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. tnaonline.org, Tennessee Nurses Association. Texas Education and Job Websites. actionline.org, Association for Career and Technical Education, ACT. apps.twc.state.tx.us/csc/directory/search.do, Directory of Licensed Career Schools and Colleges. ccsd.org, Career Colleges and Schools of Texas. dallasfed.org. Economic Outlook, Tapping on the Brakes. ritter.tea.state.tx.us/rules/tax/chapter 127/index.html, Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills for Career Development. TEA.Texas.gov/curriculum_and_standard/Texas_Texas_Essential_Knowledge_and_Skills, Career and Technical Education Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, twc.state.tx.us/jobseekers/training-education, Texas Workforce Commission. Utah Education and Job Websites. jobs.utah.gov, Utah Department of Workforce Services. umaab.org/index.php, ID equals 282 and XID equals 282:0:0:0:0, Utah Manufacturers Association. utahcte.org, Utah Career and Technical Education. utnurse.org, Utah Nurses Association. Vermont Education and Job Websites. ccv.edu, Community College of Vermont. labor.vermont.gov, Vermont Department of Labor. Services.vsac.org/wps/wcac/libraries/pathfinders/vsac/short+sign-pathfinders+sign-short+sign-term+sign training+sign opportunities+sign Vermont Student Assistance Corporation. vtate.org, Vermont Adult Technical Education Association. Virginia Education and Job Websites. cteresource.org/about, Virginia CTE Resource Center. schev.edu/students/private vocational list.asp, State Council of Higher Education for Virginia. vadeca.org/about-us.html, Virginia DECA. vahosa.org, HOSA, Future Health Professionals of Virginia. vec.virginia.gov, Virginia Employment Commission. yesvirginiabeach.com, Virginia Beach Economic Development. Washington Education and Job Websites. access.wa.gov, WorkSource, Washington. fortress.wa.gov/esd/employment data, Employment Security Department, Washington State. governmentjobs.com/careers/Washington, work that matters. k12.wa.us/career TECHED, Career and Technical Education, Washington. wa-act.org, Washington Association for Career and Technical Education. washingtontsa.org/home, Washington Technology Student Association. West Virginia Education and Job Websites. actionline.org/West Virginia, West Virginia Association for Career and Technical Education. careertech.k12.wv.us/octi website revision/16 clusters/education and dtraining mainpage.html, West Virginia Department of Education, CTE. workforcewv.org, Workforce West Virginia. wvctcs.org/index.php, Community and Technical College System of WV, College Transition Initiative. wvita.state.wv.us/counselors/students/scholarships.html, West Virginia Department of Education, Student Scholarships. wvlabor.com/new website/pages/index.html, West Virginia Division of Labor. Wisconsin Education and Job Websites. abcwi.org, Associated Builders and Contractors, Wisconsin. dpi.wi.gov/cte, Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, Career and Technical Education. wideca.org, Wisconsin DECA. WisconsinJobNetwork.com, Wisconsin Job Network. WisconsinNurses.org, Wisconsin Nurses Association. Wyoming Education and Job Websites. edu.wyoming.gov/in-the-classroom/career-tech-ed, Wyoming Department of Education, Career and Technical Education. WACTE.net, Wyoming Association for Career and Technical Education. wyfbla.org, Wyoming Future Business Leaders of America. wyfccla.org, Wyoming State Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. wyomingatwork.com/vosnet/default.aspx, Wyoming at Work. wyomingworkforce.org, Wyoming Department of Workforce Services.